myself here today to talk with us about toxins, how that affects our overall health, our body. I had the privilege of meeting Aubrie fairly recently and just really connecting with her and clicking with the information that she's sharing. She is still practicing in hospital as far as I know, and helping people outside of the hospital too with just kind of living a toxin free life. And I know that that can be kind of a cliche topic now, like toxin free, what does that mean? But Aubrey is just going to help break it down for us, and then we're going to chat a little bit about how this pertains to hormone health and what we can do to take those small steps to really get into a better place with our health. So Aubrey, do you want to share a little bit? Tell us who you are and where you're joining from, and a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I am actually a single mom. I have a little 4-year-old who's literally over there watching TV. I promised him a smoothie if he left me alone. But
Awesome.
I actually started practicing as a nurse in 2013. I am in
Awesome.
California, so a lot of interesting things going on right now.
Okay.
But and before that, I actually started my journey in the medical field. Actually, I still consider it medical field, but in 2004, I became a massage therapist where I
Awesome.
learned a lot about like Eastern versus Western medicine.
Right.
My instructor for that was actually my pathophysiology instructor for nursing school. So it was kind of cool that it continued and intertwined all the way through
That's so
nursing school.
cool.
Yeah, it was just great. It was definitely a calling, thankfully, because
Absolutely.
just having that consistency and just building on it really helped me, I
Totally.
think, become the nurse who I am today, definitely looking at the person as a whole and
Mhm.
not just an object or a thing, but realizing head to toe, their entire body matters. And
Yeah.
everything that happens with them internally and externally is telling us something. And
Yep.
so it's really important to listen to that. And I think too often we're trying to mask the symptom instead of getting to the root cause. And as a nurse, when I first started in 2013, I really wanted to not mask that, but really fix. Even
Yeah.
though I didn't have an MD behind my license, I wanted to fix the patient person
Exactly.
because I wanted them to be better. I didn't want them to continuously come back because we were
Right.
just masking things. And
Exactly.
so that was really my purpose and my call when I got into nursing was to do no harm and to protect the patient, to give them all the information and make sure they had the choice to what went on their body. So that's kind of my background
Absolutely.
as far as like nursing. I worked in step down ICU is where I started. And then we actually got floated to the main ICU, the ER, and every floor because we were called the multi-system unit floor. So
Okay.
basically, if any floor was overflown or overflooded, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
um, past max capacity, we got the patient.
Okay.
So that's where I started, and then now I'm in the PACU. So
Okay.
it's been a journey, but I love it.
Absolutely. And I think this would be a good place to talk a little bit about perceptions of our role as nurses, because I think I still get this a lot where people are like, well, don't you just do whatever the doctor tells you? And yes,
Never.
but also like 90% no.
Yeah,
So can
definitely
you explain
90%.
that a little bit? Like, I know, I mean, I can explain it, but I'd rather hear it from you, and I'd rather the other women hear from you what our role is as nurses. I mean, I think it's the same pretty much across the board, whether you're in an ICU or not, but
Mhm.
share a little bit about that.
Our role as the nurse is to care for the patient, mind, body, and soul, and take care of them from head to toe, understand the labs, understand the diagnosis, understand what's going on, because your doctor in that hospital sees 24 to 36 other patients. They
Yeah.
do not know what's going on head to toe. So they are truthfully relying on us to tell them what's going on with the patient so they can write the order.
Right.
And many hospitals around have residents and residents are learning, it's called practicing medicine for a reason.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so often residents will come to us and be like, what do you think? And I'd be like, you're the
Right.
doctor,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to let you do anything to my patient, so let's chat. So
Yep.
it's I think too often nursing is just, oh, you're just a nurse. And that's not it at all. The nurse is the one who talks with the family, talks with the patients after the doctors said their one sentence spiel and the patient's left like, well, what does that mean? We're
Right.
making sure that the doctor has done everything that they can do in order for that patient to do what they've done. I have one example. I had this patient, had no idea who the family was, but they were having issues with breathing and everything. And I was like, something's not right. Something's not adding up. I
Yeah.
just kept combing and combing and combing and going through everything. And I realized I had the doctor come back like 3 or 4 times and he's like, "What do you think's going on?" And I was like, "I think this is what's going on." We got another MD on board. Thankfully, that nurse was the head of our cardiac unit,
Wow.
and it was one of our doctors, like patients who they've been following for a long time, and he missed something.
Yep.
But because I stayed vigilant in taking care of that patient,
Mm-hmm.
he saw
Great.
a brighter side and we got the right diagnosis for him because we went and just kept digging for that root cause.
Yeah. And I
So
think this is where that's really good. And also, part of our you're totally fine.
It's fine.
No worries at all. You're totally
Sorry.
fine. You're good.
The
It's
joys
all
of
good.
being sick.
That's okay. My little one did that to me yesterday, so we're in good company.
Nope,
So
had a deal.
I'm gonna chat for just a second until she hops back in. There you are. Okay. Talking about like critical thinking. And because like I said, a lot of times, people have the impression that, oh, the nurse just follows the doctor's orders, which yes, that is true when the orders are right, but we have to like look at the order and make sure critically thinking, does this apply to my patient in the state that they're in with everything that they have going on? And if not, then I need to be the communication piece to the physician. So a lot of times we actually are the driver of what's happening in our unit, what's happening with our patient, and not just taking orders.
Yeah, you
So
said that very well too, because one of the things too that a lot of people don't know is that, when we go in for the shift, whether we're working day or night, we have to sign off on orders. And
mhm,
the doctor puts the order in, but it's not an order until the nurse signs it.
yep. Yeah.
So,
Right, and we review them. We have to review them every shift and make sure they're appropriate, and it's that check and balance. So to make sure that it wasn't, the doctor that was on call for 48 hours that just like haphazardly wrote an ibuprofen order for somebody with a bleeding disorder, or like, do you know what I'm saying? Like those little things that you don't catch it unless we're checking each other. So how, tell us a little bit about your journey from, I mean, you're still in your nursing role in the hospital, but to kind of waking up to toxins and that whole process.
yeah, I actually started waking up to toxins when I became a nurse. Like I said, when I was working as a massage therapist, I started understanding the Eastern Western medicine. I
Yeah.
never heard of Eastern medicine before. I didn't even know that existed.
Hmm.
And so when I became a nurse, I was actually getting sick a lot because, of course, we're around new germs, diseases,
Totally.
microbes, and everything. And so you're building that immune system, which I
Right.
feel like a lot of people have forgotten that we have that right
You
now.
have one.
And so it's really important to take care of it.
Right.
And so I just kept kind of masking the what was going on with me instead of finding the root cause of what was going on. And I started getting
Yes.
rashes, I started getting bumps, I just started having all these different issues going on with me. And so I ended up, so sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm watching. You're doing this on purpose because you want to. Okay, I love you. Go. Go. Thank you. Cool beans, dude. Sorry.
You're good.
And so I started using different things such as like ma'am. Willem, I am on here. Please. Yep, take it. Go. Cool. Perfect. Bye. Close the door.
I'll put this in my room.
Okay. Good job. It's so good. It's
Right? Right? Oh gosh.
We
Well,
had deals. We made
go
deals
back and
for
look through some of
tax.
my lives in this group, and you will feel so much better about yourself, trust me,
Okay.
okay?
So sorry.
Don't apologize, you're fine.
So anyway, so I just started using different avenues, started seeing functional medicine doctors, started seeing chiropractors and just different things because taking the medicine was just masking the issue
Right.
instead of getting rid of what was really going on.
Yeah.
And so it was through that I started talking with different nurses and I found out, that they were kind of feeling the same and they were like, yeah, certain things weren't making sense. And so that's kind of where I started, okay, well, let's start switching things up. And it started with my detergent because I was getting bumps on my arms and everything. And then it started with, okay, well, if that's the fact of detergent, well, then what's in my cleaner? So I started looking at what was in my
Mhm.
cleaner and what I was washing my dishes with. And so it just slowly started being all these different things. And then now for me, I'm really big in skincare and hair care and just
Yeah.
what goes on our skin because it is the largest organ of our body.
Yes.
So that right there tells me, well, this shield that I have, I really need to start taking care of it.
Yeah.
So what is going in is not just affecting my skin, but it's also
Right.
affecting all the organs internally. My
Exactly.
eyes, my liver, my
Yeah.
kidneys, my GI tract, like we're
All of it.
connected. All
Well,
of it.
and people, and I used to be the same way. Like, so there's no judgment on this, but a lot of times people are like, oh, it's just a little bit. I mean, it's just like trace amounts. But the thing is that we have now, because we're so inundated with toxins in literally every area of our lives, our air, our water, our food, our skin, our, body products, that we're accumulating them. And
Yeah,
so this then, like you said, it impacts your liver, your kidneys, every organ of your body. This inadvertently, of course, is going to impact our hormones because it's getting into our cells. And it's, these are toxins that are very disruptive to our hormone production, starting from when we were very little. So I think we have to get rid of that thought that, oh, it's just a little bit, we don't have to be 100% purist about
mhm,
everything, but like we have to look at, yeah, it's a little bit, but you are applying shampoo, you're applying toothpaste, you're applying deodorant, you're applying body wash, you're applying makeup, and you are, and that's just on your body.
and for me, that deodorant was actually it's funny that you hit on deodorant, we didn't even talk about this, but that deodorant was a huge thing for me because I can't believe I'm saying this, but I ended up getting this giant rash under my
Oh
armpits
no.
that was so bad that I scratched it raw to bleeding,
Oh no. Yeah,
only to find it was the ingredients in my deodorant that was
totally.
causing that. And once I switched it up and then I did a detox, I haven't
Mhm.
had that issue since.
Right.
But that just plays to what you said, like a little bit, a little bit. Well, that little bit over 34 years, I mean, I
Mhm.
wasn't using deodorant as a baby, but I'm just saying
Yeah,
that little bit adds up and it
totally.
accumulates. I use that same deodorant forever.
Teen
you know?
spirit. Just kidding.
No, I think it was
Yeah.
like Dove or Secret or something like
Yeah.
that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I changed it in 2014 and
Right.
still trying to find a good one. But
Yeah. Well, it takes time, and but it's realizing like when your body, and this is something we talk about a lot in the Happy Hormones program, when your body starts throwing up red flags, skin rashes,
mhm,
we can talk about, all the different symptoms. We have to start paying attention to those because it's like otherwise we end up going down this trajectory and wonder why, we're having reproductive cancers or
yeah.
cancer in general, or why our hair is falling out, or why, we're getting rashes all over our body, and all of those things. Like, your body's telling you something. So yeah, so why don't you share? I mean, you have a lot to talk about with the skin, so I'd love to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, so often like we forget about our skin, like the different ways that toxins do come into our body. And I like that you touched on air. Well, you touched on water, but like air, water, cleaners, all those things that we were talking about. Well, all those things go on our skin, well, the air goes in our lungs. not going to talk about that for skin. But
Yeah.
as far as water and cleaners, like the water, you guys can go on ewg.org and it'll tell you all the chemicals that are in our water.
Mhm.
And so that's like one thing to filter, but that's hitting our skin, right?
Mhm.
And so the skin is the largest organ in the body. It's 1.73 meters, square meters round, or long, round, whatever you want to say.
Mhm.
And it covers the entire body, right? Head to toe, we have skin. It is our first line of defense. Okay.
Right.
And what our skin is meant to do is it's meant to protect. It's where we feel, it's our sensation. So if we're
Mhm.
putting these constant lotions on our body and it's becoming this blockade and barrier, like it's affecting exactly everything that we're feeling. And
Right.
that feeling, it's our fight or flight response. When you get scared, the hairs on your skin stand up.
Right.
Our body and our skin are always communicating with us. It's our heat regulator. So when it's cold, it keeps us warm. And when it's too hot, it cools us down by us sweating. Well, there
Right.
you go. So excretion and sweating. Y'all don't want to sweat because it's not cute. You need to sweat because that's our bodies
Absolutely.
telling us that every single part of us is functioning, whether it's your armpits, your forehead, wherever you're sweating at. Like that's telling you, okay, I'm
Totally.
listening, I'm responding to how you're feeling, whether you're in that fight or flight mode or if you've calmed down, now we're re regulating, right? And then
Exactly.
it's also our absorption, everything we're taking in. Okay. And
Right.
then the skin has 3 layers, but two that I wanted to share with you guys about is the first one is our epidermis. It's our top layer. It protects us from our environment, dangers, anything like that, bacteria, viruses, foreign substance, all of that. And it also is what gives our hair, skin, and eyes its color, right? And then
Right.
there's our dermis. So our dermis is our nerve endings, which tell us, like I was talking about, pain, touch, temperature, all of that. And then
Mhm.
the sweat glands, which excrete water and salt, help to regulate the body and respond to stress. The sebaceous glands are our hair follicles, which are the oil in our skin, and that's
Mhm.
what gives our skin its softness. So
Mhm.
if those aren't functioning, that's probably why you have dry, flaky skin.
Right.
And then the hair follicles throughout the body, like I was just talking about, that's what stands
Right.
inside our body and on the outside. And then, of course, the farthest layer, which is our fat layer, protects our organs and everything like that. And then it's important to note too, because the skin is so large, when you guys have your pores open, whether you've just taken a hot shower or anytime really you're putting things on your skin, it only takes 26 seconds to pass through that blood brain barrier. And
Wow.
so that's not just going on top of your skin, it's only a little bit. No, a little bit adds up and it's constantly going into that blood brain barrier and it's affecting you guys like all around head to toe.
Right.
So,
Absolutely. And I think that's, that was probably the first thing that we started eliminating when we started realizing, there were these toxins. So part of my, I'm just, people know this from being in the group, but part of what catapulted me into being aware of this was my dad dying of brain cancer. And they did all the genetic testing and they're like, this isn't a genetic cancer. And so then I started kind of questioning, like, okay, well, if it's not genetic, then where does it come from? And it wasn't like an obsessive journey. It was more just like, I really wanted to know, like, what predisposes certain people and not others. Is if it's not genetic, then it has to be environment, right? Not just our external environment, but the environment of our physical body. So realizing that 95% of cancers, whether they're reproductive or not, are caused by toxins in our environment, our environment, our person. That I started to be like, okay, well, what are these toxins then? Like, what are they? Because my nurse brain was like, biohazard bag, like those kind of toxins,
yeah.
not
Right?
like, like mercury spills. Like that's kind of what I
Yeah.
was thinking of, not like the little things every day that
Mhm.
have an MSDS sheet that are in our products. So,
Yep.
so that was the first thing that we got rid of was skincare stuff and just slowly like changing things over. And we can talk more about that, but that's kind of what flipped the switch for me to realizing like it doesn't have to be all overnight, but that's the one thing I can do. I can switch my shampoo. I can look at my body wash and make a better choice, or use bar soap, or, deodorant was a hard one
Yeah.
because then you go through this detox phase where you kind of stink a lot.
Yeah.
Like, cuz your
And don't
body's
be
now
afraid of that stink because it's
releasing
totally normal because it can
toxins.
breathe.
Yeah. And it's all of that aluminum that's been in our antiperspirants for years. I mean, shoot, even if you only did it for a year, like, that's all stored in those sweat glands, and you have to get rid of it. And so that aluminum traps odor, which is why a lot of times when you begin to switch your deodorant and you stink a little bit more, kind of like that postpartum stinkiness that
Mhm.
nobody likes to talk about. um,
Oh my
it's
gosh.
it's that,
I totally
and it goes away. It gets better, but it's definitely, you have to like push through the phase, and in order to really let your body do what it was meant to do, which was to sweat.
Yep,
So yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And in so many times, like we just, even the top ones, like people are like, oh, aluminum, mercury, like you were saying, okay, that's not in it, that's fine. But they don't realize the other ingredients like DEA and parabens and all
phthalates
the just
and
the different ones that are out there that are so bad for your skin, the phthalates, the sulfates, all of those, they destruct the liver, they cause cancer, they cause issues and irritants with the eyes and the skin. It's just
exactly.
toxins on toxins. And then we wonder why we're having these issues, but especially because this is a hormone thing, parabens are one of the biggest disruptors of hormones, and
Absolutely. Yep.
parabens are in so many beauty products that I literally all I tend to wear right now, because I know of a couple new companies and I'm gonna try them out, but I'd rather let my skin breathe than put makeup on. And
Yeah.
it's not, that's just me. Like, I don't wear anything, and
Yeah.
especially going into work, you don't put a for me putting on a face of makeup,
No.
and then all these things are gonna attack me while I'm at work because I just think of all the germs that are at work. It's just
Right.
like, why do I want them to cake on top of what's going on? I
Right.
would rather just keep my skin
Or,
clear
like, you're
and clean.
sweating, so by the end of your shift, your makeup is, like, all over
Oh,
your
yeah, and then
face.
now wearing the mask, like, I don't know why anyone wears makeup to work right now,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Exactly.
So, I mean, but because this is a hormone one, I really wanna just really reiterate
Yes.
actually that paraben, like, the paraben is so bad, it's such a disruptor, and it's not just females, it's males also.
Yeah. Exactly. And, the interesting thing, if when we're talking about reproductive health, we're not just talking about like the reproductive stage of our life where we're actively getting pregnant and having babies. We are talking about like these hormones affect how your I'm sorry, these chemicals affect how your hormones behave.
Mhm.
So, you have that like branch to the tree, and then the other branch to the tree would be that when these chemicals are affecting us at a cellular level, which we know they do affect us at a cellular level, that will affect future generations. So if we get pregnant and we have this toxic overload in the body, our babies are born with our toxic load. They were not born like a clean slate. So it really does matter. And then now their cells and their hormones have kind of been like primed with this toxic overload that they will carry on unless we do something different about it. And so it's not just, it's not just us not getting cancer. It's actually so we can feel really good so that we don't have these, long-term symptoms that are causing pain, in our life. So,
And I think too, a lot of people forget, like, it's not even the deep things that we're talking about, like DNA disruptors, cancers, and all of that. If you guys are having headaches, your hairspray has
asthma,
butane in it, it has propane, like you're lighting your hair on fire,
right?
and headaches. I can't tell you how many people have headaches, fatigue. Um, they start getting like spots in their eyes,
Yeah.
black spots in their eyes.
Mhm.
Those are just some of the physical that you could actually see,
Right.
because we don't necessarily see the internal cancer until we
Right.
go get that lab result. But,
Right.
the dry, flaky skin. And one thing I want to say though, I know this is a hormone, but this is something I
Yeah,
always
go
preach.
for it.
it's important to hydrate your body. I don't know why I feel like I need to say this,
Yes.
but
Thank you.
all the wrinkles and the shriveling up of our skin is really our body saying, "Can I get some extra fluid, please?"
Yep.
Like, you
Right?
clean your brakes, you oil your car, like, take care of your body the same way. But also in regards to what you were talking about as far as, like, the hormones and how we pass it on to our kids, your kids will show it.
Yep.
Stork bite, you know,
Mhm.
dimples where they shouldn't be, all these different issues that kids have at birth, they're so pure
Mhm.
that really, if things are well, they shouldn't have these issues at birth.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
They have
And
nothing in them to
right.
have these issues. And we
Right.
make it normal. It's not normal.
It's not normal. And I think that's where like we have to take a step back and say like why are we normalizing these things that are not normal? Because I know for me a big motivator was not just like yeah, cancer was a big one because it hit pretty close to home, but at the end of the day it's like I don't want my children to go into their teens and their 20s having this same toxic burden that I had that was a part of the reason why, I had painful periods and mood swings and horrible acne because those toxins are trying to get out of my skin. Like they're trying to go out whatever
Yeah.
route they can go. And so for me, that was a really big motivator was
Yeah,
my
I just want to talk to that painful periods because I grew up on the couch with just period pain that was so bad,
yep,
super heavy flow, like awful, awful. I
yep,
am 34, almost 35. I
mhm,
have no cramps now because I have
awesome.
eliminated major toxins from my body.
Yeah,
I have very, if I have a cramp, it's maybe the day before, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to start,
yeah,
I don't have the headaches. I used to get migraines all the time and be out
wow,
as a kid. I couldn't play my soccer games because they were just so bad.
wow,
It's and the flow was so heavy. Now it's consistently, I mean, I know this, I'm just being really vulnerable and honest,
yeah,
but
go for
now
it.
it's like 3 to 5 days, maybe
Yeah,
5 days where it used to be 7 to 10 super heavy flow.
totally.
Now it's like the first day, hello flow, and then the next it's normal, and
Yeah,
then I don't have any cramps, I don't have the fatigue, I have energy while on my period,
yeah,
but it's all these steps, and especially, like I said, my newest one these last 2 years was the skincare,
yeah.
and just cleaning that up, that I just feel great.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like that we take away the toxic burden and the body can begin because your body was made to heal itself. It was made to heal itself. And so when we remove those unnecessary burdens that come through like and we've got a list like a mile long, but like laundry detergent,
Yep.
softeners, whether it's the dryer sheets or the actual liquid softener, dish soap, like you name it, all of that stuff, like it's getting in our body. And we're not trying to create fear here. Like we just want there to be an awareness because if you're having these issues, we have to be able to take some steps forward to remove them. And this is one of them is eliminating that toxic burden. Like even, changing from non-organic to tampons to regular tampons. People notice like
Oh,
I
that's
went through a
huge. I did
period that
that.
was like 7 days of a period to 5 days because you're literally inserting a toxin into your bloodstream through the mucous membranes in your vagina. Like it's a direct contact. I mean, this is why people, this is probably like the inner city nurse situation coming out, but this is why people insert drugs into their vagina because it's a direct hit to the body and to the bloodstream. So it's the same thing with our care supplies. So even just like if that's all you can do is make that one, like that's going to be my task for the month is non-toxic tampons and pads and just see what happens with your flow. Those like little things that make a really big difference.
Yeah, it's just all baby steps, and I feel like all of this can become super overwhelming.
Absolutely.
Um, Thinking of everything over the past like 7 years that I've done, if
Oh,
I felt that I had to do it all right now, oh my gosh, I'd be super overwhelmed. But it
Yeah.
was a process, and let it be a process, you know? And if it's something that you're wanting to cultivate and really create with your life, like make it a family affair. Like
Right.
if it's just you, do you. But if it's everything you're wanting to clear out, then really help everyone understand why we're doing this, you
Yeah,
know? Help the kids
exactly.
understand. My 4-year-old, he's 4, but that kid loves to learn and know why. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
it's me because I always gotta know the why,
Yeah.
but he loves to know why, and he
Right.
enjoys the fact, "Okay, mommy, why do we take these certain vitamins?" "Well,
Yeah.
this is why we take these vitamins, because this is what's going on," you know?
Right.
And so just I really wanna implore you to encompass the entire family to make these
Right.
decisions. That way the burden's not all on you to have to do everything.
Right.
Otherwise, yeah, I'd quit the next day. Like,
Right. Oh, yeah.
that's really hard.
Exactly. Well, and it's not only hard emotionally, like the emotional aspect, because like that would be like trying to complete nursing school in a day, right? Like here's all of your course material, good luck. Um but impossible. So, but then you
Oh,
have to also, like, we all have budgets, right? So
yeah.
very few of us can actually like, oh, I'm going to go through and throw out everything and replace everything. So so yeah, so my advice is always like pick one
Mhm.
area of your life a month, or one area of your life every 3 months, and begin swapping it out. Get familiar with like the ewg.org website and how to scan products. I mean, that's a super simple tool that you can use to begin to see, like, okay, yes, my toilets need to be cleaned, but do I have to use bleach, or do I have to use this certain, Lysol cleaner that's gonna have, potentially could cause like neurological issues. So those simple, like, just becoming your own advocate. And I think that's where, like, been it's been deeply ingrained in us, like we advocate to the death for our patients. And so that's where you have to learn, I think, as a consumer, to be your own advocate, and step away from marketing a little bit, step away from, Tide makes everything whatever. I don't even know what their
Yeah.
slogan is, but to like, yeah, but if people are dying because they swallowed Tide Pods,
And now you're putting that on your skin?
it's like like that's where the critical thinking comes in. Like, hey, maybe that's not ideal. So yeah, that was a tangent, but hopefully
No,
it
I
made
totally
sense.
agree with your tangent. But it's like it's just those small things like you were saying, you know, you can focus on one thing a day, you know, like if it's your water, see if you can budget in a new shower head that has the
Yes,
filter in it, you know. There are several companies
totally.
who
That's
make
so
filters
good.
like that. Or, you know, start changing out the filtration system in your home, you know.
Yep.
I can't afford a whole filtration system in my home. I'm a single mom. So I
Right.
do different things that work for my kiddo and I. I have the
Yep.
shower head, and
Yep.
then I have a filtration system where we get our water from. And that's all I
Yep.
can do right now. And
Yep.
that's okay. You
Yeah,
know,
it's
one
better than
day I
nothing.
will do that, but
Yeah.
I can't afford that right now, you
Yeah.
know. And then it's just like, you know, it's that. And then, you know, you can do things to filter the air. And then, but it's easy to start with the small things such as cleaners, your medications, skincare, hair care. There's simple swaps out there. There's so much information on the internet, and I know it can be so overwhelming, but
Absolutely.
you have this group, which I feel like is a great group that can answer a lot of questions
Right.
as to, okay, if I want to swap this, where can I find this? You know,
Yeah.
and there's information online to do that as well. There are a lot of people out there that want to help, that have done the research. You just got to find your right advocate and join them and have them help you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think that's the big thing. And I know it's something that we're both very fiercely passionate about, is helping people. It's like whether you choose to work with me or not, or, whatever that looks like. At the end of the day, I don't care so much. I care that you feel empowered and that you have the right information. Because that's really what's going to bring people, to that place of healing and self-awareness, and getting better, and passing that on to our kids. Like my kids, they know what essential oils are for what. They know, like, if they see something that's like, they can usually smell it, like, like, oh, that's a chemical. We don't, and they're not mean about it, but they have an awareness of like, our house doesn't smell like that, or they have, kind of an acute sensitivity to that, like, oh, we're not used to using that kind of thing in our home. And so they're like, Mom, can we use this? Are you sure this is safe? Like, I'll get text messages, from kids at my friend's house, and they'll be like, yep, your girls are asking if this sunscreen is safe. And because they know, like, I've never seen this before. Is this, gonna hurt me, or is it gonna be okay for me? And I think, um, just we pass on what we know, right? And we want it to be better for our children than for us, and than what we've experienced. And so, what would you say, to the women in this group who are kind of just starting out, kind of peeling back the layers to, maybe this is a piece to their, either their hormone picture or just their overall health picture, the health of their family. Where would you suggest that they start?
I would honestly take a deep breath
Yeah.
because it's
Take
a
a deep breath.
lot.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath and just really feel empowered that you are your own advocate. Anyone who comes in your life, they're working for you. So
Mhm.
really know what's going on with you. That's the place to start. Whether
Totally.
you're noticing a bump, like for me, noticing a bump on your skin or a rash under your armpit,
Mhm.
notice the little things and then start with the things that will get to that root cause.
Yes.
Because if we think, okay, well, I have this, but I want to do all of this, you're going to quit.
Yeah, 100%.
And
Yeah.
and the last thing as a nurse, or if I'm being your advocate and you're a part of my life, I don't want you to quit. I want you to feel so empowered that you can do this, that you get to see the results, because nothing will happen overnight.
Right.
And that's the one thing you have to remember, is that whenever you start something, consistency is key. I
Yep.
have been at this since 2014. And if I quit and I decided, no, I'm just going to keep on with all those toxins, I wouldn't be here today feeling how I feel today and
Yep.
be able to encourage others with my
Exactly.
story or anything really. Like,
Right.
I wouldn't be able to sympathize or relate if I had quit. So don't
Exactly.
quit and start with the small things. That's what I would say.
That's brilliant, and I love that, and it just kinda reminded me of, like, one of my patients, was run over by a lawnmower, and, I mean, devastating to a 2-year-old, right? I mean, completely mangled his leg, broke his leg, horrible, horrible, horrible situation. And, as you're beginning to work in physical therapy, we're working very closely with physical therapists so that he can meet his goal of going home, right? And getting, being able to ambulate on his own and being able to potty train on his own and like all of those big goals.
Mhm.
But if we had said to his family and to him at the time, like, this is your goal, now get there, but did not provide any of the step, you just set people up to fail. And that's not, we kind of have to look at the journey that as what it is. It is a journey, it is a process. And the same thing with healing our hormones. It's not going to be fixed overnight. A 34-year problem is not going to be flipped upside down overnight, but we can make active steps to get there and be proactive about it without totally overwhelming our, our emotions and our budget. So I love what you shared. I think this was brilliant. When we're done, do you mind just putting in the comments where people can find you, like on social media?
Oh yeah, totally. Do I
Awesome.
just put it in the chat, or how do I do this? Or just
Um,
I'll go into the group and put it in there.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
perfect. So under once the video is posted, then you can just
perfect.
pop it in there. But
Yeah,
that would be
totally.
amazing. I think I love following you. I learn stuff from you all the time. So this was so beneficial, Aubrey. I'm so thankful that you took the time out of your busy day with your little one at home to hop on here. And I would love to have you on again sometime.
Oh yeah, I totally love to. And like I said before, like my whole goal and just life is, I just want people to realize that they have options
Yes.
and that nothing is one size fits all.
Right.
So like those are just two things that like I want to leave with, is just like,
Absolutely.
know that you are a unique individual and
Hmm.
what works for you. If you're following someone and you're like, oh, I want to try that, but it doesn't work for you, it's okay. Try
Yeah,
something else, because not everything works for everyone.
exactly. I love that. Beautiful parting words. Thank you so much, Aubrie.
You're
I'm
welcome.
going to let you get back to your little one, but we'll
Okay.
be in touch,
She's knocking
okay?
at the door.
Yeah,
All
right.
right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.